Doug, Jim Thomas here.
Hi, Jimmy.
Anything you can say about Bortuzzo and Parayko now?
Yeah, they changed their cell numbers during the break, so I haven't had a chance to reach to them yet. So they didn't know it was practice today. No, they're
So they could be in trouble, huh?
yeah, no, they'll be back in short order. We're not allowed, Jimmy, quite honestly, to talk about it, but you'll see them on the ice sometime this week.
Have any players chosen to opt out?
No, we have had no one. They have till 5 o'clock tonight, but everyone in our group has indicated they want to play.
Doug, it's Lou. Is that a conversation you felt like you had to have with the players, or did you just kind of let them approach that with you if they decided to?
Well, during the whole phase 2 or even prior to phase 2, we've always let the players know that their health and safety of themselves and their families at the forefront, and they'd have 100% of our support. So we didn't call each individual to ask them that question. I think they knew going in that we would support whatever decision they made, and no one has come to us asking not to participate.
Hey, Army, I realize with camp starting, this is probably the furthest thing from your mind, but could you give us an update, if you can, on the Scott Perinovich situation?
Yeah, Scotty is going to sign his contract starting in 2021. He's going to sign a 2-year deal under the transition rules, or the rules allowing players to play. He was not going to be able to participate this year, so he was in town and doing some work. We sent him. He's back in Mini now and won't be here for phase 3 as he prepares to get ready for the main camp in next season.
Doug, have you had any talks to the players just about how to, be careful during these strange times, or do you leave that up to Berube or your captain?
Yeah, well, what I've done is, we have a group chat going on, and I've just tried to emphasize the importance of taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, and preparing to play. But I talked to a couple of players last night and told them it's sort of playoff time right now, and I'm going to try and sit in the background and allow Craig to be the voice as he's talking to those guys. But I'm here if they have any questions on any sort of on-ice related things. I just trust their professionalism. I trust their desire and to wanting to play, and I know they're doing what they can do to hopefully get us all through this phase 3 and into phase 4.
Doug, I know you guys want to win every time that you touch the ice, and the importance of the round robin games and the playoff seedings. But with no home ice advantage, does it matter where you guys are in the playoff standings?
Well, certainly, as you said, you want to put your best foot forward. But I think the 8 teams that are into the group of 16 have a little bit of latitude to try and get as many guys games as necessary. I think the seeding itself isn't going to really matter when the 4 teams that have a bye into the round of 16 play. They're going to be playing someone that's feeling really good about themselves, someone that has just won a 3 out of 5 series and has a little bit of sort of game experience in this tournament. So I don't really put a lot of stock into finishing 1 through 4, except we want to be in a good frame of mind when we get to that round of 16.
Hi, Doug. How encouraging was it seeing Vladimir Tarasenko out there today, and what does his addition mean going into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, Vladdy was participating in phase 2 here, and I've been able to get a glimpse of him through that time frame, and his shot is still dynamic. He seems to, I was saying to one of the coaches today, he seems to score at will. That's something that you sort of take for granted when you're watching him every day, and then you realize how special it is when you don't get to see him for 4 months, or 4 or 5 months actually, or longer. So it was great to see him out there. He looks fantastic. I know he's still knocking off some of the rust, and I think having the exhibition game and then the 3 preliminary games is going to benefit someone like Vladdy, who hasn't played in a long time.
What did it mean, though? I mean, he looked like he was going to be ready sometime there in March, but to have these extra 4 months for him, I mean, what does that really mean for him in terms of just having the full use of his shoulder and just his full?
Well, Lou, we weren't going to bring him back until he was 100%. You know, you don't want to be penny wise, pound foolish with someone that's a cornerstone of your franchise. But I think having more time to strength, more time to condition has certainly helped him. Then you get to that level where he's 100% and he's like a racehorse. He wants to get onto the track and start running, and we've had to hold him back. But having him out there today and over the next couple of weeks, and as we get into Edmonton, it's certainly going to be a benefit to have a healthy Vladimir Tarasenko.
Hey Doug, what was the thought process on just the call-ups you made, the guys you weren't with the team at the time of the pause, and specifically Hofer coming in as goalie?
Well, he's someone that we obviously watched this year, what he did for Portland in the Canadian Hockey League and at the World Junior. I think it's a great stepping stone for him. We certainly needed four goaltenders for this training camp. It gives him an opportunity to skate with our guys, get to know them. You know, we're going to take 31 players to Edmonton, and it's a great opportunity for him to be with this group. Out of the group that we have here, Tyler Tucker is another player that's going to come and join us. He got word just Saturday that he was able to participate, so he's going to be on the ice later this week. So we're going to actually have 33. We're going to have to make a decision on 2 players, or actually 1, because Tucker can't come. And if we decide to go with 3 goalies, Hoff will be ready. He has great experience skating with these guys, and if we need to bring him in, the NHL has said that if you get below a certain number of goaltenders, they understand the importance of that position and will allow you to fill in.
Doug, I know you're not to the games yet, but you're another big step here with training camp. Was there ever a time when you didn't think this was going to happen, that it was just going to be called off during this long layoff here?
Well, I think at the start you tried to say, okay, well, how are you going to get this done? And then, you know, when I went to hub cities, you had a little more comfort level. Then, quite honestly, Jim, they had talked about 4 hub cities. I think going to 2 made it sound like every step they've taken, your belief grows a little bit. Obviously, what's happening in the United States right now with the number of tests being positive, you had a little bit of a scare maybe 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, that were they going to be able to pull this off? And I think when you look at the precautions the NHL and NHLPA have taken, I feel really comfortable that if we can get through these couple of weeks and get up there, there are going to be some setbacks, some roadblocks, things are going to happen, and you have to just be able to roll with it. But, you know, as the guys got here and as phase 2 got farther and farther into it, and our guys kept having negative tests, it made us feel really good that we're in a good spot.
Doug, do you think that these playoffs will be a lot harder than playoffs in the years past, seeing how players have had an extra 4 months to kind of recover and rest up?
It's going to be hard to tell. I wish I could say one way or the other. I think that you're going to be able to carry positive momentum, I think, longer in something like this than maybe you could have in the past. But with that being said, when we get up there, you know, injuries are going to play a big factor, and not the long-term injuries, just the nagging, you know, a groin or a back or something that can keep you out a day or 2. When it's a day or 2 in September or October, you go with the benefit of the doubt. But certainly for the teams that are playing the best 3 out of 5, you can't take any days off, and it's going to be interesting to see how the health of the bodies is taken care of when we get up there. I know everyone wants the players to be at their best, but it's just the reality is they haven't skated in a long time, and it's going to be teams are going to have setbacks as we go through.
The hub city circumstances obviously are unique, but the fact that your team this year and last year were so good on the road, you think that might help a little bit or play into you guys coping with it pretty well?
Yeah, I think that just the maturity of our team is going to help us, Jimmy, just going into it. We have a balance of experienced players and younger players, but I think what they've gone through over the last few years puts them in a good spot. How last year ended, obviously there's a positive feeling, but we had to go through a lot to get to the end of last year, and I think we're a hardened team mentally, and I think this is going to be something where our experience hopefully will play in our favor, that we can eliminate all the white noise of what's happening around us and just come and get the job done.
Doug, do you know anything about an exhibition game yet?
The league has given us an idea of when it's going to be and who we're going to play, but I'll let them announce it. I don't want to start off phase 3 with a big fine to the GM.
Doug, how important is it to not only get this return to play and the health protocols, but you've got 4 more years of labor peace with the collective bargaining agreement? How does that make your job easier, even in these stressful financial times?
Yeah, well, certainly having 6 years and a potential of a 7th year in the CBA, gives us certainty that we're going to participate and play. I also think knowing that what the salary cap's going to be for the next probably 3 to 4 years, and then hopefully we're back in business and the revenue start flowing in and it can increase at that point. But knowing really what it's going to be each year, you go into the season thinking it's going to raise $3 million, $4 million, $5 million. Then there's an escalator that the players can and can't take. So it's really a moving target. It's less of a moving target now. Teams have planned for the cap to be maybe 85 million and maybe mid 90s to 100 million in the next 5 or 6, 7 years. It's not going to be that. So you just have to understand where it is now, and you have to make your decisions based on, quite honestly, a little more certainty.
But now that you have a clearer picture of that salary cap, as you said, does that give you also a clear idea of what you want to do with some of your unsigned guys going in particular a guy like Pietrangelo?
Yeah, we're going to deal with it when the season's over. As I said, we know what the cap is, and we'll make decisions based on that.
What kind of shape did you think the players were in today? And did they take a fitness test for this, like a start of training camp, or no?
No, they did a medical to get on the ice, but there was not the fitness test that they would do in training camp. I think everyone was at a little bit different level out there today, it seemed to me. You could tell the guys that had access to ice to some of the guys that might not have had access to ice. I believe, in talking to Craig, that we'll have a much better feel to where we're at a week from today, and then we'll just continue to grow. But we're not. Today wasn't an evaluation day, it was a get their feet moving day, and I think it's almost going to be a get your feet moving week, and then we can start moving into a different phase next week. And again, I think that's one of the benefit that the players have awarded themselves from having a good around 70 games, is that they have that extra time in the hub city to prepare that obviously 16 teams don't have.
Or do you think the way this is shaking out that they'll have more than enough time to get ready?
Well, they have to. It's not something that they're gonna do a straw poll and say, let's put this back a few days. I believe our guys are pros. I believe they've taken great care of themselves. I know that they want to play, and I know we'll be ready.
How important is every team probably has a differing opinion on it, but as far as the seeding is concerned, is that important for you guys, or would you like to see them use those games to just play their best and obviously get ready for that first round?
Well, I don't think there's going to be a big difference in the competition once you get to the group of 16. As we said earlier, you're going to have 4 teams are going to feel really good about themselves that they just won a mini series to get in. So we're not. We want to, when we play those 3 round robin games, your competitive level just starts out and you're there. You're going to want to win the games, but let's say you have a small injury that the player would play through if he was in the best 3 to 5. I don't think he's going to have to play through that in the round robin things, because you understand that when you're playing elimination games from the tournament, that you need to be, it's just a different focus than playing a round robin game. So I think it's beneficial for us, and I congratulate our guys for putting themselves in that position to have those 3 games.
Guys, let's do 2 more for Army here.
Oh, you've seen Jordan Binnington for parts of 2 seasons now. Are you confident that he can, play in the playoffs like he did last year, that he can do it again?
Well, he's given us no reason not to think that he's capable. What he did last year, what he did this year, what he and Jake did as a tandem this year was spectacular for us, and so we believe he's going to come in here like everyone else and knock off the rust and be ready to go.
I wanted to ask you about playing without fans. How do you think your team will handle that? How will they motivate themselves?
I wish I could tell you, how it's going to. The motivation part, I don't think is going to be an issue. I think they're motivated to win for all the right reasons. They owe it to the guy they sit beside, and they owe it to our fan base to put on the best effort. It's going to be different. It's one thing, Jimmy, like when you're without fans at the Centene Center where you're all congested, the noise reverberates off the walls, and it feels almost like a game situation and to an extent. I think when you get into these massive NHL arenas and the noise dissipates as it travels, it's going to be something new that we haven't experienced. Again, and I'm also interested to see what the NHL is going to do as far as television angles, as far as piping in potential music or noise, how they're going to do that. That's out of my pay grade, but I think they're going to try and do things that make it more a different environment than we've had in the past, which it will be.